Great, welcome to another weekly Zoom Karate Kata seminar series. Tonight's kata is Meikyo. Meikyo means, translates to bright or polished mirror. There are a lot of mirror image movements in the kata. Another is this movement that comes like this, is supposed to symbolize you're holding a mirror to yourself. But basically, it's a kata that's practiced by more experienced and older people, and it means self-reflection, finding yourself in the kata. It was another one of those katas that was derived from a couple of different katas by Sensei Itosu and probably Sensei Funakoshi or his students revised it further to become the kata that we know as Meikyo. It doesn't have a lot of really fancy movements in it. It is a basic, advanced kata, but it also has a lot of basics in it. So it's not, because it's not flashy kata, it's not very popular in the tournaments. In fact, I could not find a video of competitors doing it in a tournament. So, as we always do, we'll do the kata together by count, and then I'll get into the analysis. Ready? Meikyo! Yo. I. Ni. San. Chi. Go. Lo, chi, hatsu, ko, jo, I, ni, san, chi, go, rok, ich, ni, san, chi, go, lo, shich, hatsu, ko, jo, ich, ni, san, chi, go, hai, lo, nore. Okay? Notice Meikyo's one of the katas that currently has only one kiai in it, on the jump. Okay? We used to do it 2 kiais. I don't know why they took one out of it, and we'll talk about that when we get to that place in the kata. First move. From here. Slowly. And okay. I learned the kata to bring the hands out front, about eye level. But most of the Hombu dojo instructors seem to prefer to bring them up about 45 degrees on these movements. This is very similar to the discussion I had about knee jushiho. So if in either of the kata, if you're coming out front, the bunkai means that you're intercepting a kick or a punch or the bow and pulling it, grabbing and pulling it past you. Okay, but if you bring up to a higher elevation, then this becomes like a slap down technique. Okay, because you can't catch something if you're so far away from it. So that's the first move. Second move. The important thing is about these first two moves is both are Quick in-breath, slower, 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 slower. And this kata is one of the fewer, both these moves are focused, number one, number two, where most practitioners take some time. Here and here. Meaning they don't stop and go right into the next move. Rather, they stop completely for a moment. And I think this is largely to emphasize the spiritual part of these first two movements in the kata. So, this move, which is supposed to be looking in the mirror, also is different than, say, Nijushiho goes like this, or hand four. You cross at the wrists because somebody's grabbing, you go in between. So you want your hands to make a very small arms, they'll go up through a very small space. In this kata, you're wider than here. Okay? Because you come here with your hands together. Okay? So I think they want to keep that symbolic meaning in the kata. Some people, in the old days, some people did this, but this is not a strong position. Your elbows must be inside. So, most movements like this, your arms are parallel. I did notice Sensei Ogura had his out a little bit. So I've seen this variation. I have to believe if Sensei Ogura is doing it this way, that's not wrong. But I think, I'm thinking either one is okay. Understand? It's the important thing for strength in the position is that your elbows are inside, into your ribs, not floating around somewhere. Okay, from here, then we have two sets of Gedan and the Lunge Punch. Gedan Lunge Punch. Now, we're doing hand shutdown basically. So, if you're going to demonstrate this kata, you better not do it like a white belt. My meaning there is, white belts make a 2-count movement. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. You have black belts must make their movements so they happen in 1. This first movement is very similar to a movement in empty. So you're not actually stepping forward, your hip is turning and it's propelling the leg out. So if you use the hip to propel the leg, you're going to go faster. Then your hands have to keep up with this leg motion. So to challenge yourselves, those of you who have your gis on, I want you to practice this exercise. Come up and get ready for the block from Furodachi stance. Don't cheat, start the movement with your arms and have your leg go at the same speed that it takes to do that. Have it feeling like your dropping of the block and your hip are connected. They're moving together. So bring it up and go. Bring it up and go. If you can do that, then you're going to find you're going to have to whip your arms even faster to get the upswing into the block to include that. So you don't do this, meaning your arms moving but your legs don't. So you have to go. And then of course, basic lunge punch, you also have to go. This one, you're going to do the same thing. Get ready, and try to move your leg with the downstroke of the block. The same speed that it takes to do this, you have to move your leg to the new position. Do that exercise for those two moves, and hopefully you will, if you have the bad habit of going 1, 2, 1, 2, you will get a little better idea. Okay, from here. From here, This is a Ryosho bow uke, meaning both palms block the bow to here. Okay? The important thing about this one, in the old days, people would put some kind of flourish in this movement, kind of like this. Make a big circle, but it's meaningless, it's inefficient, it's extra motion. So you're blocking the bow with the lunge punch hand. It should just come up. This one comes around from the side a little bit to the position where you block the bow. Next, bow oshikomi means a thrusting, bow thrusting. This one is Furodachi. Next, same position of the hand. Transfer your weight to very narrow front stance. Looking from the front, Furodachi's feet are almost in one line. Okay, then turning. Effectively, your feet are in one line here, because you don't want to bring this one way over here. Just pivot on the heel. Okay, what I've said about this block in other katas is the opponent's coming like this, boom, getting ready to hit you. So by the time, you don't want it to come down on your head, by the time he's about here, you have to have stepped in, close the distance, and grab the bow before it gains momentum. So when you do this movement, you have to practice with a stick so you can get the position of the hands relative to each other correctly. So you have to be a good mime, meaning when you don't have the stick and you go into this position, the distance between your hands cannot change. So in this case, you're thrusting the bow inward. If the person's striking this way, palm. When you thrust the bow inward, it'll either hit him in the groin here or set him off balance. Okay? Push the bow inward, downward and inward. Set him off balance. Use your body turn to pull the bow away from him. Okay? The kata is done stylistically in the hand positions. This one is correct for holding the bow, but then we come down to here, like a Gedan position and a Kamae position. In the Furodachi, then you keep the hands in the same position. Left hand is palm up, right hand is palm down. Of course, if you had a real bow, you would be this way, and some people do it this way, but not JKA people. Okay? And they turn and they still hold it as if they had a bow in their hand. Okay? We are here. Then we repeat. Go, 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 go. And again. Go. And this Furodachi. And the front stance is very narrow. And again. Same. Then, same sequence but using inside forearm block instead of down block. And this is no different. You've got to move the foot fast and block in a whipping action. Whipping action. Okay, now the kata changes. We were doing the mirror image parts of the kata. From here, Ketsuyuchi, bottom fist strike. Go. Important thing about this one, Chudan attack, is you have to, don't do it just statically. You have to do it. You have to make your hip, you can bring your foot in a little bit, and you have to make your hip snap when you make the bottom foot strike. So not just doing this. Okay, next one. Mikuzuki Gari and Kakiwaki Uke as performed as a down block and in both directions. This one has changed. First, we used to do it this way, sideways. I'm sure some people remember. The video I sent out of Sensei Imura, he did it sideways. But interestingly, the best karate book has it here. So in this means one, your front down block is over your front knee, and the rear one is over your rear knee. Not a right angle, a little wider than a right angle. Also, we used to do it fast, but now Japan wants it slow. That change must be very recent because I couldn't find no older references to it. Meaning of this movement is, in best karate it says you are hammer fist strike. Could be a block or a strike. You're blocking a punch with the crescent kick, and then the opponent goes to grab you, and you use the kakiwaki uke between his arms to throw them apart. It can also mean, though, that you just block the opponent and struck at the same time with your left arm. You grab his wrist, you strike to the ribs with the crescent kick, then you reach and grab with the right hand and switch grips and pull him down past you. Pull him down past you with the right arm. Okay, next one from here. Chasakandida, Jodan Haiwanuke, and the book says this one is Kamae. But of course, whenever this technique is incorporated, it could mean Kamae here, or it could mean somebody's blocking, somebody's punching from the side to Jodan simultaneously. It will work. The bunkai there is up to you, your idea what's going on. Then we do another one, same stepping forward. Then kakiwaki uke, kakiwaki, this is kamae, but it's executed like two down blocks, same as Joan. And this can mean it's grabbing the kick or slapping down the technique, anything like that. This is done slowly. Then, this is also kakiwaki uke. Okay, done as two inside blocks. Kakiwaki uke means wedge block. Any of these techniques where you come to center and pry apart feeling. Pry apart, pry apart. That's what they call a wedge block. So we come to here. Then, Urazuki, Morote Urazuki, two punches at the same time. This one is done with Yoriachi. Shift, meaning is somebody grabbing here, you come inside, then two hands up under the jaw to make the punch. Then, we turn and we make first a ready, kamae with the right hand, and rising block. This one also changed. Now they want you to do Yoriashi on both these techniques. Yoriashi, Yoriashi, both sliding in the same direction. What I was about to say is, unfortunately, Both these movements are shifting away from the mark, the original mark, and most people have trouble getting back to the mark. So the old way of shifting here, but just turning here, they make it easier to get back to the mark. Okay, I'll talk about getting back to the mark when I'm done. But I could certainly see if somebody's coming from behind me that maybe I need to shift to put a little distance between me and that person. Okay. Next movement, Sankaku Tobi. It's the mystical triangle jump. Okay. I'll do it with my back here first. So to make a triangle jump, we're supposed to go out to the side a little bit, and then come back to the line we're on. Okay. That's the kiai, and come to here behind the opponent. In the kata, we of course don't jump in a triangle, because it's physically impossible to jump in a triangle. Okay. At least if you're alone, you don't have an opponent. But the meaning is triangle. And this is a empiuchi on the kiai. Some people do this way, but it should be here. So same height is same as a hand 4 or something. And the strike happens, make sure you're not like going like this. The strike is all the way around to here in the direction that your knife hand block will be. So, and that's important for the bunkai, that the strike go at the end of the technique, not at the beginning of the technique. Okay, with the bunkai, famously, and almost always done pretty much the same way, I'll do it facing you. The image is that this side of the line I'm on is a cliff. My opponent, you are in the direction of my opponent, there's a cliff off this side. If I go like this, I fall off the cliff. Yet I got to jump around the opponent. And this is accomplished by not losing contact with the opponent. Okay? After you make the rising block, you grab his gi, his wrist here. Okay? You come around and you wrap your arm around his neck. I gotta do it the other way so you can see better. Here's the cliff this side. I grab his arm, I come around, jump up, come up behind him, and I take my forearm over his neck and pull him down off the cliff. Okay. Block, grab the wrist, come around, forearm across the neck. The fact that you got his wrist and that this action of means you can go a little bit off to the side, but this action of coming this way with this arm at the end pushes your body weight back onto your line. So that's what allows you to go in an actual little bit of a triangle. Helpful, of course, when you do any technique like this, if you were trying to go by the opponent, the stick is the opponent's line, you can't go too far away from that line. So in the jump, you're doing the same thing you would do if you were just stepping behind. Your body turns sideways this way until you pass, and then you can get behind. Okay? If I was just stepping behind the opponent, my body would turn sideways as I passed him. Stay in contact with the opponent's body, and then I step behind. If there's any space between you and your opponent, you won't get behind him. It doesn't matter if you're jumping or not, or doing some other technique. Of course, if you slam into his body with your body, that will propel you off the cliff. Okay, Anyway, we came here, we kiai, and then one more knife hand block backward. To tell you the truth, if we just knocked our opponent off the cliff, I guess there must be another one coming right next to him or something to do the final movement of the kata. But of course, all you have to do is alter the bunkai a little bit and it could be the same person. How to get back to your mark? I don't know how many people have tried. One, your bunkai, your jump has got to be really long. Your jump is in that direction, back to your mark. You're supposed to be back here. But what I find I have to do is make sure that my angles are this way and not too much inward. So if I angle out more, when I get to this point, I'm going to be farther from you, closer to my mark, than if I angle in more. And it can make a big difference. So the angles of those blocks, especially when you're moving away from your starting mark, that can make a big difference whether you're able to get back to your mark or not. Okay. Meikyo is a grand kata. It's very difficult to do well, even though it seems simple. It's challenging. So, like anything else, you just have to practice a long time before you can get anywhere near mastering the elements of having speed and controlled slow motion and doing the complex movements and things like that, and still being smooth and grand when you're performing it. That wraps up this week's kata, Meikyo, and stay tuned for another kata next Friday at 6 p.m. And in the meantime, train hard and train smart. And we'll see you next week.